History for Sleep, Brutal Medieval Peasant Life Exposed in a Sleep Story.
Hello there. Release your shoulders, gently close your eyes, and let the soothing melody cradle your spirit. Feel the warmth of your blanket, the steady rhythm of your breath, and your heart quietly matching the peasant's footsteps at dawn. Over the next 2 hours, you will awaken on a straw bed as dewdrops herald a day of toil. Turn the pages of Maria's diary and hear the stirring tale of the Peasants' Revolt. Delve through shadowed earth to unearth archaeological mysteries, from broken pottery shards to silent tombs. Witness the stark contrast between harsh daily life and opulent courtly splendor. Each story drifts softly like a distant flute, just enough to spark your curiosity, just enough to cradle your soul into a dreamlike state. Let history lull you into peaceful sleep. Morning dew in the straw bed. Imagine waking on a simple straw mattress laid directly on a hard, ashen floor. Dawn's first light seeps through the cracks in the wooden walls, painting soft bands of gold across the hut. You can almost feel each dewdrop clinging to your hair, and breathe in the mingled scent of damp earth and dry straw. In that moment, the daily rhythm of a medieval peasant's life begins with a humble awakening steeped in the fragrances of nature and the lingering coolness of fields yet to stir. Patchwork garments, worn boots, and calloused hands you pull on a coarse. Handwoven tunics, rough fibers, scratching your skin. A constant reminder that every thread is spun from back-breaking labor. Your leather boots, worn thin at the heels, slip and squelch along mud-filled paths, each step marked by a soft squelch. Your hands rough and puckered from endless hours of hauling water, wielding hose and turning soil. The folds at your knuckles map decades of unrelenting toil. Corn porridge, breakfast, and the struggle for sustenance. A wooden bowl of lukewarm, watery corn porridge is all you have for breakfast. It's salted sparingly, dotted with a few green peas. As you shovel spoonfuls of the thin gruel, you hear a distant rooster crow, and the gentle gurgle of the whelp. This is the heartbeat of their morning. Every mouthful is a small victory over hunger, a testament to survival. Even in emptiness, there's comfort in filling your belly, however briefly. Heading to the fields at dawn, you hoist a wooden plow over your shoulder, gripping its worn handle, and step into the field still shrouded in mist. The faint tang of manure and the sweet scent of wet grass hover in the air, occasionally pierced by wisps of smoke from neighboring hearths. Early sunlight filters through the haze, illuminating droplets of dew on the young wheat. Their daily rhythm unfolds in each thrust of the plow, every furrow turned, each weary step an unending struggle to coax life from the soil. Sweat, bruises, and a Spartan midday meal. By midday, your back is slick with sweat, your patched tunic a pale yellow-brown. You rest beneath an old oak's shade, tearing off a crisp slice of baked wheat bread, its crust crackling as you bite. Insects trill softly in the undergrowth, and dust kicked up by passing carts drifts around you. Occasionally, a child's distant cry reminds you that there is no luxury of long rest in this life. Shared hardship and simple acts of kindness despite exhaustion. You still offer your neighbor a sip from your water skin and half a piece of dry bread. In their eyes, you glimpse a quiet solidarity's small miracles of compassion amid harsh surroundings. That afternoon, you gather to share a wheel of corn cake, exchanging stories of the upcoming harvest festival. It's a fleeting moment of brightness, a reminder that even in the deepest mud, humanity's warmth endures. And so, each day for a medieval peasant follows a measured cycle. Awaken, labor, share, and await rare moments of repose. They live between earth and rain, sweat and hope, in a relentless dance for survival. An invitation into a personal chronicle. Imagine holding an aged diary, its pages as delicate as withered petals. The quill's ink has bled into the paper, a slanted stroke revealing the thoughts of Maria, peasant girl in late 14th century northern England. With every line you read, you hear the crunch of gravel underfoot, smell the musty clay of pottery tucked in a corner of her kitchen, and feel the quiet anxiety as she describes precarious harvests and the neighbors' rasping coughs. Maria and the storm-tossed harvest one afternoon. Maria records the sky darkening as black clouds mass overhead, a chill wind wrapping around her shoulders like an unseen hand. In the fields, corn and wheat ripple like gentle waves until the storm breaks, each raindrop pounding against her straw-thatched roof, shattering hopes of a bountiful yield. Maria writes, "It sounded like war drums, yet there was no victory, only mud and the pungent earth. This was more than a storm. It was a new struggle, each drop a reminder that rural life would never be peaceful." Footsteps of rebellion. The Peasants' Revolt of 1381. We shift from Maria's private memories to the collective footsteps of defiance. In 1381, across eastern England rose the cry, "No more unfair taxes." As peasants stood together in the Peasants' Revolt, picture a silent sea of people moving through empty fields, banners fluttering in the morning mist, wooden staffs and pitchforks gripped firmly in calloused hands. Each weathered face shone with resolve. This was no longer mere survival, it was a demand for justice. It was not raucous chants, but quiet whispers of, "We deserve better." At that moment, John Balafriar, no longer garbed in pristine robes but in a coarse woolen tunic, stepped onto a makeshift wooden platform. He spoke of equality among all men and women, stirring hardened hearts with a fragile hope. Though the uprising was eventually crushed, its memory endured as proof that even the most downtrodden can rise against injustice. The Black Death and its silent pall 2 decades later, you open the diary once more to pages blurred by shared sorrow across Europe. The Black Death descended like a creeping fog, unannounced, engulfing every village. No need for graphic details, just enough to know the sky bowed low, and leaves drooped under the weight of fear. You hear the slow groan of a cart hauling the dead through narrow lanes, its wheels rasping over cobblestones, and feel a cold gust that seems to draw the last warmth from your skin. Emptiness pervades. Hearth fires in cottages smoldered to ashes. Family altars lay strewn with faded flowers and roofs so silent it felt as if each tile held its breath. The quiet resurgence, yet history is not solely darkness, life endures. When the plague passed, Maria records the moment she reunited with an old neighbor. Their eyes met and lit with a flicker of hope, like a tiny ember glowing amid the ashes. Abandoned gardens sprouted new life, weeds giving way to green shoots of wheat, and children's laughter rang out in warmed air. The legacy of humble heroes? There are moments in people who seem smaller, friar kneeling in a makeshift chapel, a peasant girl knee-deep in mud, a handful of barefoot farmers resisting oppressive taxes, yet they sowed the seeds of great change. Their names are absent from golden history books, but their stories echo in every cobblestone path and weathered tree, reminding us that history is woven from everyday struggles. Imagine a village slumbering beneath the earth. Picture yourself standing before an empty field, its slight mounds barely visible in the late afternoon light. A trowel brushes against dry soil, carrying the faint scent of fired earth, an invitation to uncover a buried past. Here, archaeologists have revealed traces of a village long gone. Each layer of soil is a chapter of memory. Mud brick foundations, a midden by an animal pen, shards of broken pottery, all whispering echoes of medieval life. A pottery shard, and the story of an evening meal. When you pick up a fragment of pottery, its jagged edge feels cool against your fingertip. The glaze, a muted grayish-brown, bears the mark of a kiln's heat. Imagine a cold evening when a family gathers around a rickety table, the day's stale bread kept in that very vessel. The chime of clay as it settles, shaped by the rough hands of a local potter, and the flicker of a torch's flame all combine to form a humble, warm supper. A silent tomb and lingering belief beneath large stones near an animal shelter, archaeologists uncover a small burial vault. Inside, the air is heavy, the scent of damp stone mingling with the faint odor of decayed clay from a mask laid over a skull. Envision a dying candle, its smoke curling upward to illuminate a hunter's name uninscribed. But beside it hangs a small bronze bell. This suggests that even in hardship, peasants held on to the supernatural. Belief in ancestral spirits, the protective power of saints, and the mystical energy channeled through buried grave goods. The enigma of inscribed raka, message through time on a small outcrop by a dried streamed yew, discover crude carvings. Your heart stills as your hand traces the chiseled grooves. Scholars debate their meaning. Perhaps a brief prayer, or simply the name of a carpenter commemorating his work. Though uncertain, these simple characters open a window to eternity, proof that even the humblest marks can convey a longing for remembrance across generations. The Spring Festival, colors and echoes imagine a March dawn as villagers assemble on a cleared mound, bare feet on cool pebbles. Drums made of animal hide beat in steady rhythm, accompanied by the soft trill of bamboo flutes. They wear layered clay-dyed robes and crown themselves with blossoms of peach petals. The Spring Festival was not only a ceremony of thanks for fertile soil, but a rare chance to dance, share news, and strengthen communal bonds. In that moment, you hear children's laughter, smell incense drifting from a small shrine, and feel a fragile yet steadfast sense of hope. A fireside tale-spinning tradition. When night falls, villagers gather around a crackling fire. The flames hiss as damp logs burn, radiating comforting warmth. We huddle close, watching golden embers dance on the ground as an elder begins the tale of the Wildflower Maiden, a legend of a wandering spirit who appears in the mist to guide the lost home. The narrator's calm, steady voice, interwoven with the fire's crackle, leaves you both intrigued and soothed as though receiving a lullaby in the heart of darkness. Imagine ascending to the upper floors after tales of rustic fields and solemn rites. Picture yourself leaving the furrowed earth behind and climbing broad stone steps into a sturdy fortress. Your footsteps on polished marble ring clear against the muted squelch of mud in the fields. Gone is the scent of damp soil. Instead, sandalwood incense drifts through vaulted halls, and silken draperies hover in the spacious air. A lavish banquet beneath painted vaults. Envision yourself seated at an intricately carved long table, porcelain plates edged in cobalt blue arrayed before you. A glistening joint of roasted meat is drizzled with honeyed glaze and deep red wine. Crystal goblets tinkle like droplets of light, and the faint aroma of beeswax candles wafts through stained glass windows. This is a feast for nobles, where food is not merely sustenance but a display of wealth and status. The sounds of the banquet and hushed laughter, the pace of the dinner is unhurried. A harp's gentle chords intertwine with sung ballads performed by court minstrels. You hear the soft rustle of silk robes as aristocrats shift in their seats, and low murmurs about jewels, politics, or court gossip. In this candlelit radiance, every detail from lighting to fragrances orchestrated to uplift the spirit just enough to allow your thoughts to drift away. Silk, feathers, and the mask of pleasure. The elite wear silk garments dyed indigo and embroidered with golden thread, their hats adorned with peacock plumes. Imagine brushing a fingertip along a collar, cool and smooth, a world apart from the scratchy hemp of peasant tunics. Yet beneath this polished facade lies constant pressure, to curry a lord's favor, to maintain one's standing before the court, and to smile through the disquiet in one's heart. This gilded existence is no less harsh its suffering, simply hidden behind layers of splendor. Harsh contrasts and echoes of hope while peasants survive on thin gruel. Wearied boots and fitful sleep, the castle seems bathed in perpetual light and tranquility. But luxury has its price. Crushing taxes on countless families, the back-breaking labor of serfs constructing grand halls, and whispered sighs behind palace doors. Listen for the wind sighing through iron-barred windows, proof that even the thickest walls cannot contain every sorrow. Fleeting connections between two worlds despite rigid social divides. There are rare moments of unity. A young noble catching the eye of a serving girl carrying a platter, their gazes meeting in a brief, genuine exchange. Imagine her quiet plea, "Please spare me a glance," only to be cut short by a guard's knock. Such fleeting encounters remind us that, no matter the hierarchy, human hearts can still find empathy. Let your mind float gently over those golden straw fields, where Maria greets the dawn with dew, clinging to each blade of wheat. Return to your humble hearth, feeling the warmth of the flickering fire in the corner of a simple cottage, where the unbroken pottery jars tell their stories through the skilled hands of past artisans. We have listened together to the earth's quiet whispers, from the faded ink of a peasant's diary to the triumphant drums of the peasants. Revolt then passed through the cold stone gates into a lavish feast among nobles. Every footstep, every breath has woven a tapestry of hardship, longing, belief, and hope. Now, as your heartbeat slows, remember that you no longer bear water buckets on your shoulders or trade your days for grain. You are safe, you are warm, and each gentle melody cradles you. Every moment of history we traversed has been a soft lullaby, drawing the medieval tale to a more peaceful close. Imagine yourself lying in a cozy bed, breathing steadily, attuned to the last echoing notes of the flute. Tonight, as you sleep, you will dream of those layers of earth nurturing tender green shoots, of warm kilns forging clay vessels, and of candlelit banquets dissolving into the night like drifting smoke. May you drift into a restful slumber. Every dream is woven from these old stories, because history is not merely the past, but the comforting blanket that embraces your soul.